Absolutely. And people call this movie whiny. And I don't see how it's
What?
whiny.
Ugh.
That's another kind of thing that people have talked about. Like, well, this is a whiny movie. Like, I don't think Large really ever whines in this movie. I don't. I don't
Uh,
see how this is this. We watch movies where like there's very whiny people. I mean, you watch, I don't know, an Apatow Picture, or I don't know, one of those, I don't know. But you get these characters who just sort of whine, like this whine about their life. This guy's just kind of waking up and
this guy
this is
was
about a
on
movie
lithium his whole
for
life.
9 years.
This
Yeah,
guy
his
was
whole
on
year. Yeah.
lithium. I'm sorry, like you might be mad at men or whatever, or oh, but he comes from a rich family. This guy was on lithium without his consent for how long? They drugged him. I mean, yeah, no, I think lay off the harshness of white guy
Yeah.
whining with this one because, yeah, again, this is a thing that has happened to a lot of people. And I don't really care. Like, I don't think it matters who you are. The bottom line of that is, well, that's wrong. And yes, that will mess you up no matter who you are.
You know what's interesting too? While researching and reading about this movie, I was like, oh wow, that might be true. Like what these person just said. And I watched it again. I'm like, I don't think that's true. So I
Mm-mm.
think it's good. Like you read this, you get this reaction to it, and then you're like, oh, okay, that makes sense. But then you watch again, you're like, no, that doesn't make sense. So it's kind of nice.
Yeah.
Just I'm so happy to watch this movie again because I didn't quite know
Yeah.
what I was going to think about it. I didn't know if emotional 24. Wait, how old was I?
Same. I thought it
20.
was I
Yeah,
thought I might cringe. I thought I might cringe a little.
yeah. And
I
there's
only
not
cringe for the
cringe.
R word. I only cringe for the
Yeah,
R word. That's all.
like man, Portman went heavy on that scene. Oh my gosh.
How many? I think she said like 3 or 4 times in that one like speech. Like, Natalie, shush.
Yeah, because it's not really an endearing trait. And
No.
listen though, but like I guess, and I don't even want to blame the time frame, but I was doing this thing where I was watching I've watched a bunch of '99 like teen movies, and like 2001, 2002, and geez Louise, the language in that one, and those
Yeah.
things don't really age well. So, I'm not going to say that's good on this, but they definitely go hard. So you're supposed to make this endearing character, but like geez Louise, um,
And that's the
yeah,
thing, like, oh, like, and I think that's what makes these characters also more real is none of these characters are perfect. They're not pretending like they are. It's not this clean cut,
yeah.
movie with these clean cut characters that look, they're either angels or devils. Because I mean, that's also again unrealistic. But yeah, that's I think that
And
was the
also,
only thing that really got to me because I've never liked that word anyway. It's like even when I was little, I was like, no. But yeah, I know a lot of people don't even get like how that's people think it's so funny. Yeah, I don't know. I don't get the humor in that, but I mean, yeah, we're all
and also
different.
too, this movie isn't run by the father-son conflict, which is kind of nice because so many movies are about a dad's approval or
Totally.
parents don't like the boyfriend or girlfriend, or the entire movie is just about the two of them learning to appreciate each other. That's a very much so a subplot in this movie. You have Ian Holmes sort of
Mhm.
lurking around like a specter, and then they
Yeah.
finally have that conversation between them where he's finally awake and like, hey, we just got to figure this out. And that's it. It's kind of nice that it's not a looming presence throughout this movie. He's definitely avoiding him. And I like when he lies and he's like, yeah, I've been avoiding you. But it's also another thing that you don't really come to expect because you're so used to like that story. Like he and Ian Holm are gonna have like he needs his approval and he's got to win over his approval and then there's gonna be a big speech and there's really none of that. It's quite a gentle moment that will never be the same for me again because Braff and the DP are making fun of the lighting because when he goes and talks to his dad, the light on the far side of his bed is on. And the DP wanted that, but then the DP got made fun of by his friends because why would that light be on? So I kind of noticed that now. And I also noticed when they're at the bar,
I
there's
didn't
an extra
notice
in the
that.
background that Braff hates. So not hates, but in the background of the bar scene, when it's Portman and Braff at the bar, you look in the background and there's an extra, and she is just making a meal out of her background work. She's
Oh,
Steve
for
McQueening
real? Oh,
the
damn
heck out of
it.
it.
I
Yeah.
missed it. I love background actors that do too much. It's so funny.
oh, it's the bane of my existence. And you know what's cool too? Like these two characters, like you meet Portman and they both meet with this really weird, like he's getting an MRI, she's lying about her boyfriend having a ninja, but then they just go to a bar and drink beers and hang out. Like I don't know, I like that aspect about these characters. They're not total like fuddy-duddies.
Yeah, it's like just normal hometown stuff. That's
Yeah.
exactly what you would do if you go back home, meet up with someone. Yeah, let's go just have a beer at the local. I mean, that's so normal.
It makes me happy. I don't know why, but just these characters, like, cause you know how there's always like dorky characters in movies, and like, oh, I don't know, and then there's like the bro characters in movies. It's just refreshing not to have that. Like, say anything. I loved Lloyd Dobler's character. He was cool, but he was like sensitive, but he could also kick you in the head. Like, I like Doug Glatt and Goon, where he's like a hockey enforcer, but he's also a really nice dude. So it's like there's so few characters like this,
Yeah.
and I think Portman's successful in her character. I do think there are ways to make character like. Have you seen Elizabethtown with Orlando Bloom and Kirsten
Yeah,
Dunst?
I saw it when it came out. I wasn't a fan at all.
I think that one leans a little bit heavily into those tropes that shouldn't have been brought up in the first place.
Yeah, I didn't like that
But
movie.
no, like she like makes an entire scrapbook to go dance by yourself.
I can't even remember it, honestly. I was just like, why do people like this? But anyway, I mean,
There's a
yeah,
Freebird performance that I
you can
like.
like it if you like it, but
Yeah, I like the Freebird performance because I like did they actually play this entire thing? Jeez Louise.
yeah.
I know I keep going around in circles, but are there any other moments that you really love in this movie? Are there like what are
Oh,
some scenes
wow.
that have stuck out in your memory, like the t-shirt bit or catching a tear in a cup? Uh,
I love the funeral bits because like that's also this movie was actually brought up when I was studying script writing because it's always like so if you're trying to do like a standard thing that is like a normal thing, like say funeral, I mean, how many movies do you have funerals? And I try and kind of like, create a different vibe, do something different with it. And this movie is like the perfect example of doing something different with a normal, usual ritual because yeah, I mean, first of all, you've got that top shot. That's just great. And then there's like, what's her name? I've got it. I've got the Jackie Hoffman that plays, yeah, on Sylvia. Jackie Hoffman.
oh yeah,
Um,
she's so good.
she's singing, "You're once, twice, three times a lady." Oh my word, with the keyboard, and it's just there's such a tackiness to it. But I
Hmm.
mean, this is how these people are like doing it. But that scene, the first time I saw this film, I had to pause because I couldn't stop laughing at how funny the funeral scene is. I just loved how they did that. That was great. Just like these little subtle like differences that just worked for me. Oh gosh, what do yeah, we've talked about the night scene. That's also just fantastic. The party scene at the house where they like trip on ecstasy was okay. I didn't really like. Uh, yeah, that was okay for me. I don't know if there's like if you ask me what scene would I probably take out or do differently, I would do that scene. I would change that. And then I love the end and the arc with the guy and his family and that is such a cool scene and I mean that's where the movie also comes full circle kind of because he says the same thing that Sam says. It's like, doing something different and unique that you never thought you would really do. It's kind of like you choose what you do in this life, and it doesn't have to be this big thing, but as long as it's something that's important to you, that's something that's grounded. For this guy, it was like, as long as I'm with my family, it doesn't really matter. I'll like, take take care, play like a watchman here at the quarry, make sure everything's okay. I'm with my family. I'm cool. I'm
Hmm.
set. It was such a cool moment because you think like, who is going to live in a place like this? And then they're so normal. They're so like chilled. They're so nice and friendly. Yeah, I love that scene with Mark and Sam and Lorge in the arc with those people. It was pretty cool. The boat.
Because they're so normal, right? So you go
So
through this,
normal.
like you
So
go to
normal.
the paint store and you get the guy who's talking about, I thought you committed I thought you committed suicide, and can I get your number? And just a really odd person at this paint store. or wherever they were at, and the hardware store.
Oh
And then they
yeah.
go and they meet Redman, and you have all these creepers in the hotel room. I mean, it's almost like a nightmare world that you're traveling through. And so you're
Yep.
spending this long time kind of going through the like just really having some weird experiences, which I've had before, just cruising around. You run into some weird stuff, and then they really meet these nice people who live in a boat near an infinite abyss,
Yeah.
and it's a nice way to play that. And then it's a really nice touch too. Sarsgaard has that piece of jewelry for him, and I'll be your Kato, and it's just a neat. I don't know. It's a neat. I never saw that going that way. I didn't know what they were doing, and I love that about it. And I also love too when they meet him at the funeral, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm going to a party after this, after burying your mom." Well, I got to shower first. Like that's like a such a blunt line, but I loved it. Just the way he delivered it.
And
So,
Kenny. And Kenny. I mean, Kenny is great. Kenny became this cop. And Laura just like, you're a cop now, Kenny? Like, what? And he's like, yeah, man. But like, Kenny is so the wrong guy to be a cop. And it's so typical. And it's Kenny is, I mean, that little scene and the dialogue there is just also so great. And like, it also shows Large, like, you can see he is thinking by himself, what in the world? What is that? But he's like not mean to people, He's like, yeah, okay, trying
mhm.
to see people and understand people because he's trying to understand himself at the end of the day, too. But just his whole scene with Kenny, because Kenny just goes off and says the most random. Yeah, like I don't want to spoil it for anyone that want to watch it again because Kenny is just hilarious and should not have a gun as a cop.
No,
Just no, just like, but like I say, typical. That is the kid that becomes a cop in your hometown.
I love, and yeah, Braff
Oh,
had some friends who did that, and I also love. So he came in on the last day of shooting, Kenny, and everyone was tired and everyone was sort of beat, and I guess that he just like had so much energy on the last
oh
day of filming
wow.
that he just carried
Yeah,
because it was a night
he
shoot, and he just
did.
carried everyone through that night by just being a ball of energy, and they were so appreciative of him. And also too, I love Jesse's reaction to a silent Velcro when Mark pulls it apart near the giant. Like, where's your furniture? Oh, it's keeping us warm. But when he pulls apart that Velcro and it's completely silent, and his just reaction to it, like, yeah, it's
Yeah.
this tiny little moments that I really liked, and
It's moments. It's
yeah,
definitely moments. And I mean, that's, yeah, also like very life, isn't it? It's moments. So this big, grand, oh, you can like literally put this into a scene, feed it into the algorithm, and it'll give you this perfect scene. That's moments. It's all moments. Yeah.
and they captures it. It's fun. I don't know. I just remember I keep saying it, but I just connect like the shirt bit is so weird. The gas bit is so weird. The flight. And but I do like that you are being shown a lot, not really being told. When you see his bed, when you see his pills, when you see the gas pump, when you see the flight and he's being calm. There's just a lot. And I like the swimming scene where all this staring at him. There's these weird little
Oh,
interludes that give
yeah.
it a personality, and
Yeah.
and it's yeah, I guess there's just enough in there. It was hard to find that pool, they said they had a really hard time finding that pool, but
Oh,
there's enough odd stuff in it that makes it really stick out from movies. And another reason why I think it felt so like revelatory to me when I saw
yeah.
it in 2004, because like, man, this is awesome. But yeah, what else I don't know, I
Yeah,
guess it's
totally. It's like one of those movies, even when I watch it now, like you don't want to be on your phone. You want to watch it because, again, these little shots, these little moments, these actors doing so amazing, without like, being over the top or, yeah, it's just, yeah, all of it. All of it's
hmm
just so great. But yeah.
hey, so before we get out of here, let's do something real quick.
Oh
Let's
no.
do let's do a 2004 draft, because I was just looking
Okay.
at a lot of 2004 movies and I just adore so many of them. So I'll let you have first pick. I'll give you some time to look through. But I was just looking through 2004, and there's so many movies in here that I just love.
Oh,
So I
wow.
think that could be fun to do a pick
Oh,
because
Closer. Was Closer also